Cottonwood Cove right now, and I can immediately feel the shift on the atmosphere, you know? Our journey began at Ranger Station Echo, an NCR outpost led by Ranger Erasmus. Officer Green warned us that ahead lay dangerous territory.
Believe me, I would love orders to take Cottonwood Cove apart and kick the Legion back across the river. But McCarran doesn't want us to waste resources on something they consider a minor target, so we just get to watch.
We were getting close to Cottonwood Cove, a Legion stronghold and slave market. Echo's desert air felt easier to breathe compared to what awaited us. Ghoul officers patrolled the camp, reinforcing that we would soon be crossing into the Lion's Den.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
As we approached Cottonwood Cove, the mood shifted. Legion banners snapped in the wind, and armed centurions patrolled everywhere. This cove was no resort. It's Caesar's staging area where captured locals are judged and sent upriver into slavery.
Being held here against our will, I beg you, help us.
Centurion Aurelius of Phoenix had been ordered by Caesar to build this camp.
When Lopez and Coulter drove the NCR from Searchlight by clever means, Caesar himself ordered me to set up this camp and harass the profligates.
He calls it just a single finger of the Legion reaching across the river.
It's a modest presence, a single finger of the Legion reaching across the river's narrows. But with me here, it has an iron knuckle.
We even encountered Legion scouts adorned with ritual head trophies and 2 ominous crosses marking the entrance. In the camp, we met Canyon Runner, the slave master. Cold-eyed, he explained his role without remorse. When we asked if he felt bad trading human lives, he spat that enslaving the dissolute is merciful.
Why would it bother me to enslave these wretches? They have no purpose, no creed, no honor. They live in pitiful squalor, undisciplined, intemperate. To enslave them is to save them, to give them purpose and virtue. Nestas industria prudentia. Even the virtues of slaves are beyond the dissolute on this side of the river.
We boarded the ferry that Cursor Lucullus was piloting up the river. Lucullus, a tall Legion cursor, immediately eyed me in surprise. A woman reporter at Caesar's invitation was unusual. He grumbled classic Legion doctrine.
You'll be meeting face to face with the mighty Caesar himself, founder of the Legion, conqueror of 86 tribes. To my knowledge, this is the first time Caesar has ever summoned one of the dissolute to see him. That it would be a woman is even more surprising. All who are not Legion are dissolute. They live in squalor, unrestrained by morality, lacking moderation, temper, and self-control. Their very existence is a blight on the common good. Even worse are the profligates, the subtype of dissolute one finds this side of the river. They hold themselves to be civilized, when in fact they are corrupt and self-interested. The truth will be made clear to them soon enough.
As we sailed, Lucullus muttered under his breath about why Caesar wanted a woman with him. His officious scowls were more comic than scary. At Fortification Hill, the Legion's mountain stronghold, we were strip-searched by Praetorian guards. The place reeked of Roman bloodlust. Rows of crosses on the gate displayed crucified people. This is no mistake. Legion crucifixions are deliberate, public punishments. Caesar modeled them on ancient Rome because they're humiliating, slow, and cheap.
Degenerates like you belong on a cross.
These tortured bodies stood as a warning to any who'd defy the Legion. Inside, a makeshift bazaar bustled. We met Dale Barton, a traveling merchant comfortable in Legion territory.
So you're the visitor I've heard some of the legionaries talking about. If you're in the mood to trade, just say the word.
He claimed to be independent, but he openly preferred Legion rule.
They're my best customers. As long as you don't try to sell them chems or alcohol, they treat you fair. Between having to hire protection and getting slapped with taxes, it's more profitable to stick to Arizona and New Mexico.
When I asked about Legate Lanius, Caesar's warlord, Dale winced.
He killed one of my pack Brahmins simply because it was in his way. I knew better than to complain about it, though.
No second chances in Lanius's world. Dale admitted he sensibly kept quiet about it, or he'd have lost far more than a cow. Nearby, we saw slaves working. A few slackers were being punished publicly. Some groaned on a beam, begging for water.
The work never ends.
Legion children also lurked nearby, too. Boys barely into their teens practicing, while older legionaries barked orders. Their trainer bragged that he pushed them to the limit, proud he's forging strong future legionaries.
I'm harsh on the children, but they'll be excellent legionaries. I'm quite proud of them.
Venturing deeper, we entered the Legion's communal area and arena pit. A burly ringmaster named Otho ran the fights. Learning I was a woman, he visibly bristled.
What do you want from me, woman? I'm in charge of the arena, not the cooking pots.
In fact, he almost exploded when I jokingly asked to throw a round in the pit. As the Legion's rulebook bluntly puts it, female combatants are simply not allowed. Otho reiterated the arena code.
We pit slaves or prisoners against each other once in a while, but it's not much of a show. They're usually too reluctant to kill each other.
When I pressed the matter, he barked that this isn't a kitchen, and I was not to join men in blood sport. His sexist tirade was infuriating, but not surprising. Caesar himself often teaches that women are beneath notice. Still, Otho granted us a brief tour of the arena. In a dim tent, we met Siri, a young Legion slave with haunted eyes. She had been kidnapped in a raid from New Mexico while training to be a doctor.
A free woman. It's been a while since I've seen a woman who wasn't a slave. I forget myself. Are you injured? I never finished my training. The Legion saw to that when they overran my town. I do know basic first aid, but I've had to rely on tribal remedies to treat illnesses and injuries. Healing powders and all that. If I could just get across the river, I'd be free. Not that I'd try it. I've seen what happens when you get caught. We're property. If you're too young or too old, the men usually leave you alone. Usually. You ought to be careful yourself. I overheard some of the legionaries talking about trying you out.
Her medical skills have made her a valued property. She knits remedies from herbs because the Legion bans real medicine. Despite this usefulness, Siri yearns to be free. She had seen escaped slaves flayed or crucified, and her fear was palpable. Siri confessed she even heard older Legion wives whisper about the mysterious Burning Man, a figure the children called a vengeful spirit, warning of disobedience.
A vengeful spirit. Some of the more superstitious women claim. He was a great leader of the Legion before he failed Caesar. The story says he was set on fire and thrown into the Grand Canyon, but his angry spirit rose from the ashes of his corpse, looking for revenge. Nonsense, probably, but there's no doubt that many in the Legion believe he's still alive somehow.
I promised to remember her story, though Caesar's guards had instructed us to ask no more. Finally, we were ushered into Caesar's tent. His presence was magnetic. He exuded an almost otherworldly confidence. He spoke grandly of destiny and New Vegas. I started asking about his opinion on the NCR.
Do you want my opinion as a former citizen or future conqueror? Actually, my opinion's the same either way. As a young man, I was taught to venerate President Tandy of Shady Sands, the founding mother of the new California Republic. Did you know her presidency lasted 52 years? And that her father, Aradesh, was the Republic's first president? Does that sound like a democracy to you? Or a hereditary dictatorship? Because the council didn't dare oppose her. She was too popular. She had the people's love. So things ran smoothly, more or less. And as soon as she was gone, as soon as there really could be democracy, what happened then? Ever since losing its queen, the NCR has been weaker, more diffuse. Democracy has been its weakness, not its strength.
I also asked how his kingdom began.
Ironically, I was born a profligate myself. a citizen of the NCR. My family lived not far from the Great Boneyard. After raiders killed my father, my mother sought the followers' protection. I was 2 years old. She found work at their library, cooking and cleaning. I learned how to read, and soon I was taking courses, free of charge. When I was 20, the followers sent me east to Grand Canyon. It was my first expedition, just me and a physician named Calhoun. As an anthropologist and linguist, my assignment was to learn the dialects of the Grand Canyon tribes. What a waste of time. Anyway, we met up with a Mormon missionary who already knew a bunch of dialects, Joshua Graham. He was supposed to teach me. Before that went too far, the Blackfoot tribe captured us to hold us for ransom. Backward bunch. But the real problem was, they didn't know how to fight. How to use the guns they already had. How to strip and clean them. How to breathe when pulling a trigger. How to reload ammunition. They looked at me like I was some kind of a sorcerer. So I taught them how to make explosives and started drilling them on small unit tactics. If there's anything I learned as a follower of the apocalypse, it's that there's a lot of good information in old books. Divide et impera, divide and conquer. I led the Blackfoot against the Ridgers, their weakest enemy. When they refused to surrender, I ordered every man, woman, and child killed. When next we surrounded the Kaibabs, and they likewise refused, I took one of their envoys to the Ridgers' village and showed him the corpse piles. This was new for the tribes, you see. They played at war, raiding each other, a little rape and pillage here, a little ransoming there. I showed them total warfare. Like I said, there's a lot you can learn from old books. I knew from the start I'd need to eradicate this plague of tribal identities, replacing them with a monolithic culture, a uniform identity. So that's what I did once my confederation of tribes was large enough. I crowned myself Caesar and created a single great tribe, my legion. I sent Calhoun, the follower captured with me, back west with a message that I should not be interfered with. Joshua Graham, the Mormon interpreter, stayed with me and served as my first legatus. My legion's expansion has never ceased. Much of the Utah and Colorado and all of Arizona and New Mexico are mine. Cities of our own, but nothing compared to Vegas. Finally, my legion will have its Rome.
This whole land will bow to Rome reborn, he intoned. But soon mid-sentence, Caesar winced and mumbled, clutching his head in pain. Without warning, he ordered us to leave, complaining of a violent headache. His curt dismissal was a reminder that even mighty men have frailties. As we prepared to leave Fortification Hill, Legionary Lucius, Caesar's right-hand praetorian, finally spoke openly. I asked him about the Burning Man legend we'd overheard. Lucius's face darkened. He explained that the Burning Man was once Caesar's Malpais legate, a general responsible for the Legion's loss at Hoover Dam.
The Burned Man was Caesar's advisor and general when the Legion was originally formed. The Burned Man led us to a disastrous defeat at the dam. On Caesar's orders, the Burned Man was covered in pitch by the Praetorian Guard, lit on fire, and cast into the Grand Canyon. Caesar has forbidden us from ever speaking his true name again. And so we simply refer to him as the Burned Man.
The story hung in the air as our boat pushed off, a grim warning that failure to Caesar deserves the cruelest fate imaginable. We departed Caesar's camp with heavy hearts and notebooks full of stories. The Legion's world is harsh, ruled by ancient rituals and brutal discipline. As MNN's reporter, I can only hope that by bringing this report to light, we expose some small cracks in their iron facade. Either way, the Mojave will not forget the grim spectacle of civilization reborn under Caesar's knife.